uh, June the 18th Planning Board meeting of Indian Trail. Start with our roll. We'll start with Cheryl. State your name and say you're here.
Cheryl Mimi, present.
Samantha Towns, present.
Dennis Gay, present.
Jordan Alvin, present.
Joe Litch, present.
Okay. Let's see, our members that are not present are John Kilman and Sydney Sandy. Michelle Reese, alternate. Yeah, okay. Okay, we'd like to start off with the approval of the minutes. Would anyone like to have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes
Do we have a second?
as written.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll second.
All in favor, right hand? It's unanimous. Okay, and Tim, would you like to bring up our first item?
Certainly. This item is actually, is actually a continuation from our previous planning board meeting on the GBD and Village Center hotel use. We gathered a little bit of additional information, but would you like me to just do a quick recap?
Sure.
Okay. The request was to amend the UDO to permit hotel motel use in the GBD and overlay village center districts. Requested uses are permitted in RBD district by right, but not within GBD or the overlay district. The intent was to expand allowed uses in order to permit hotel motel in those areas. The applicant, Sun Valley Commons, LLC, the Moser Group. As for the details, there's the graphic that's shown there shows where in red the process would be added for motels for GBD in the overlay district as a conditional process only. The RBD has that permitted by right at the moment, but these two additional areas for this text amendment would propose making those changes conditional only. There's some additional things that's part of this text amendment. Those things, making those changes to the use table results in other changes in different sections, but it's also proposed that the maximum height be changed for the by right RBD and the overlay district and go from 40-foot height to 70-foot height for those two. And you have the other text changes that's in the other sections. Those are in your packets. We're in your packets for review, just to further define parameters on those developments in those areas. Same here with the table in UDO Chapter 1020 for parking ratios, making adjustments there. So from the previous meeting, you'd requested some additional information to just get a better picture on where these things could fall. There's a graphic map that will follow these, but basically it can fall, these changes in the overlays for the Village Center overlay, and these are the intersections that those circles encompass on the map you'll see in just a moment. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 intersections that those relate to. in addition to those overlays that for GBD. Currently, with GBD that's on our map outside of the circles, we have some GBD that's inside of the circles. But, you know, to find out where this could go currently, outside the circles that I just showed you, they could go in several scattered parcels that are around the Indian Trail, Highway 74 area. And then there's a lot near Old Monroe and Green Meadow Way intersection. But these individual lots that are in these areas you'll see on the map, you know, some of those look pretty small. So hotels probably wouldn't be proposed there anyway. But it gives you a snapshot of those areas. And then the map graphic, which was passed out, that's a snapshot on the screen there. Shows you in orange currently where it's already permitted for hotels in the RBD. Primarily that Highway 74 corridor, and there's a few areas that are in the area towards Old Monroe. Then for GBD, you see those blue areas are the spots where it could also go. The spots that I was showing you, talking about just a minute ago, those individual parcels around 74 in Indian Trail. You know, there's a few odd lots there, and then south of 74. And then that one lot I was indicating down on Old Monroe, it's just outside the village circle, so I thought I would mention it too, but it almost falls into the, you know, the village overlay anyway. So currently, those are the areas that this development could show up. If someone comes forward and wants to try to rezone and propose a rezoning to an additional GBD area in the future, you know, they could try to do a direct rezoning too for properties anywhere, but that would go through, you know, that would go through the process for review for either a rezoning or a conditional rezoning if any new properties were tried to take in. But that's a snapshot without all the other land uses of just the areas that we were bringing up, or the, you know, the RBD that's existing. So let me see what I had next. I can, we can take any questions right now. I see a hand.
Jim, Tim, I'm sorry. I'm still having an issue with this because years ago, we went through a battle about overlays and general business district, et cetera. And the overlays are not really, you know, as they stand now. We don't know what developments are in there. We don't know what other businesses are in these overlays. And that was an issue years ago because people don't want a hotel on, you know, in their backyard or some sort of plant, et cetera. And I think more clarification is needed with regard to approval of something, because we don't want, you know, the residents here have a right to a quality of life, and their quality of life will not be fulfilled if we're throwing businesses just here, you know, willy-nilly all over the place. And I think it would be better if we find out what's in the overlays. You know, what type of businesses, residential, et cetera, are encompassed in the particular overlays.
Yeah, and that's exactly one of the reasons why it's being proposed that this be conditional. We didn't allow it to be by right like the other because we wanted to be able to study whenever a project comes forth. We'll study what's in that overlay. It'll be necessary to bring all the information to you for each specific project and tell you what's in that overlay, what's in that area surrounding it, and do an analysis for individual projects when they come in. And that's exactly why it's not by right. But the case that's here before you, it's all we've got. I mean, if we had a conditional case where I had a project before me, we could do the research on each one, but these are the areas. That's the applicant's request, and if it's still, you just have to look at it for what it is. If it's as a conditional process, if it's not wanted as a text amendment, if it's too risky, then you would not recommend it. If it looks like you believe of what's there in the conditional process, there's the change in building heights too. But if you believe you can recommend it on its own merit. So pretty much what we've put before you is all that we can bring to you for a text amendment. We would bring you more for a conditional zoning, and we would really dig into each case for a proposal for a hotel, especially if it's not going along a major corridor, because we know the sensitivities. And now that I've learned about what was proposed before, I would know better to check out a conditional zoning in those such areas. So
Any other questions for Tim?
I mean, I just share the same thoughts as, Samantha. And I just, I guess we would need to make a decision. We need to make a decision tonight. We're going to make this conditional, whatever. Oh, well, I'm on the same thoughts. I don't think that this is something that's just going to go well because of the location. There's no other way. Was this my question? I guess my question, because you want a question, sorry. I guess my question is, was this pre-planned? Was this area allotted beforehand, before all the stuff that we already have? Before all the homes were put in place, before all the businesses were put in place? Was this particular area allotted for hotel use, or did it just became new because a client is interested in this area?
I'm not sure what happened in the beginning to get hotel and the other items in for our RBD. So I'm not sure the history on that one, if that was put forward separately or if that was part of during a master plan period where they were rezoning several properties. I couldn't personally speak to that. But this specific application is from a developer.
Right.
Because there's certain ones that we'll put forward if we see the text is missing something. But a developer's put this one forward, and we reviewed it from a technical lens, and then you can look for, you filter it also through a constituency lens too of the people, and you help us with that side of it. So.
Well, Tim, once again, years ago, overlays, were tried to, they were trying to push overlays throughout the whole town, and that was stopped because of concerned citizens. And I think it's come back again, in a small way, but I think the whole thing is to do blanket overlays. because that's what we dealt with in the past,
My concern is,
and it was turned down.
3 years ago, this was a major event here in town, and we met at Southern Piedmont Community College, had a large crowd there against this hotel at Sun Valley, and that's what the applicant last time said, this is what this whole thing's about. So it's going against what all the residents here wanted. The other thing that the applicant did that concerns me is he said that the council and the mayor had encouraged them to come in with this and try it again. And so during this pause that we've had, I checked with the council and the mayor, and they were all shocked that that comment was made, which doesn't look very good at all for the applicant. And it doesn't look very good.
Yeah.
So that's my comment.
And to get back about the overlays, we're from a staff's view, we are on the technical side of things, and so we bring it to you from a technical view. If it's still in the comprehensive plan, if it's still in our maps, we bring all that to you, and then you provide your other background and feedback for that. So. Once I bring you the facts, my feelings aren't hurt either way.
At this time, if the applicant would like to speak, they have 5 minutes. And we have everybody signed up. Let's go request for public comments. Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
board members. My name is Gene Vaughn. I represent the Moser Group. I've been with the company about a month. I've got a cold, so forgive me for trying to communicate, not doing very well. I have viewed the history to the degree that I could. I have also reviewed the last meeting that you referenced, Mr. Chairman, moments ago. Thank you. Thank you very much. Probably need it. So I understand the feelings, and I understand it is historical, meaning that it preceded me. But all I can tell you is this text amendment, as I view it on behalf of the applicant, is when we have folks that come into this community because the community is special and because they want to enhance the quality of life of people that live and work and play here, they ask questions like, where would my business go? Where do we help guide them to have a good experience for the placement of their business? Sometimes they ask us that, and sometimes we talk to them and say, would you like to bring your quality business to this community? And I view this text amendment a little differently maybe than some. I use it as a roadmap to help guide these folks to know where to spend their time. If you guys have indicated through staff that it's this intersection or that one, that's important for them to know so that they spend their time wisely in our community. And I view it that way. I view it just as a roadmap to help guide them, knowing full well, based on the history, that if there's an emotional response from the community, which is important, it's very important, then we would come to you with that project and expect you to critique it and help us make the project better. And that's what I would want to share with you, is the ability to have the text, but then to come and be held accountable to you to say, this is a good project, and this is why. And incorporate. We probably can do a better job, quite frankly, in engaging the community and gaining their feedback before they come to meetings like this and express their feelings when we haven't done as good a job maybe as we could. And so that's my pledge in being with the company, is to try to do better with that. But I view it as a roadmap for how do we guide people using staff's assistance to best place a business or give them guidance, because that's what they want from us. And then the process, of course, is if they sign off and say, this is good, we want to be a part of this community, then we know through staff what our roadmap looks like from a development standpoint to help guide them and hold their hand through the process. So I don't know some of the history of comments made prior to my presence here this evening, but going forward, that's my view of this text amendment. That's what I would like to see it used for, is to help us do a better job guiding the others to want to come into this community. I'll be glad to try to answer any questions that you might have.
One thing I'd like to encourage the Moser Group to do is we do communicate with the mayor and with the council members. And so I would encourage him to, and his associates, to make sure they're telling the truth when they come in here. because that does not look very good upon the company when we check with people, and we've been told something that's not the case.
Well, I would hope that we would always be truthful in everything that we do, and I can't speak to the other, but I think that's what you will get from me, and that's the reason I want to make sure the lines of communication are open and that we engage the community better, and that we do a good job in bringing quality businesses to the community to enhance what we already have.
Any questions from the board?
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to say one thing. Don't think that the planning board is anti-progress. We're not. We just want to make sure that the businesses that come in, they're situated in places where it's going to benefit all of the residents, and that people will be able to make some sort of agreement. Oh, okay, well, a hotel is coming here, and we need a hotel. But I don't think they're going to appreciate a hotel 100 yards from where they live,
Right.
And
And I'm not here to suggest to you
yeah,
that
I
that's the
understand.
approach.
I understand, but,
But I hear exactly what you're
yeah,
saying.
yeah.
And and it's not just for people that live, work, and play where we think they should live, work, and play.
Right.
And that's the part that I would
Yeah.
address with you that I'm committed to do better at, is to
Yes.
communicate with those residents that are closer to wherever development may occur.
Right, and that the developers should be more agreeable in providing additional buffers, et cetera.
Right? Very fair question. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, we'll go to public comment.
Thank you.
Okay, Michael Falconberry, please come up, state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes.
Good evening. Michael Falconberry, 519 Piggott Circle. My neighbor was approached a few years ago to sell part of her backyard to make room for the hotel at Sun Valley. Thought you'd need to know that. Also, it concerns me that Mr. Mosier applied for this text amendment change, not only as a representative for the Mosier Group, but also as the Sun Valley Commons LLC, which proves where he wants to put that hotel. Also, when they widen Monroe Road, where are they going to put the U-turns? Right where that hotel is going to go, or right close to it? So it's all for nothing, okay? No need to build something that's going to be demolished, or it's going to have a big impact. You don't have enough parking there as it is. If you walk the property like I have several times, it won't fit. Either you have the room for the building or parking, not both. Now, I've spoken to Mr. Mosier on several occasions. I've suggested putting a bank at that property. And that was the last time I spoke to him was April 2018. I haven't heard anything since. He said he'll see what he can do. The best location for another hotel, by all means, is by the expressway. Between Extreme Ice Center and Expressway, that's where you want it. That's where people are going to travel. You want it convenient to where they're going to go, not what we just witnessed a while ago, all the traffic on Monroe Road tonight. It's a disaster. It took me an hour to get here.
That's ridiculous.
I could have flown faster than that. It's ridiculous. But again, you want a hotel close to where you're going to use it. Once he builds it there, it's going to be already outdated. He has no room to expand it. He has no room for a meeting center, which we need badly. We need a place for people to have community meetings on top of town hall, or businesses to come in and have little mini conventions. We don't have that. Put it in Sun Valley, it's a disaster. You already have one hotel proposed for the Hub, which is right over here by Chestnut Square Park. You have another hotel proposed by Lowe's in the Sun Valley Marketplace. So why are you going to cram this one in the smallest property we have in Indian Trails beyond me? Like I said, if they make it specific as to where this text amendment applies to, that's fine. But here we go again. 3 years ago, he fought this battle. Here we are again. No means no, okay? Nothing's changed. I've already contacted many of my neighbors and a lot of the residents in the nearby area. They're against it still. So if he wants to still pursue it, that's on him. But again, I want him to think this thing through again, put it where the hotel's needed, or better fit for everyone involved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. At this time, we're going to close public comments. We have a recommendation from the board.
Where are the other two proposals? You said there's two, because he said there was two proposals for hotel. Are there other places for there to be another hotel?
Tim, can you
Or
address
is it
that?
just, or is
I
it
know
just in this area?
the hub is submitted. I'm not sure what the other locations are. I'm not sure what the other locations are.
No, Mr. Falconberry said there was two other places. You know which two?
Valley Marketplace, Lowe's, it was proposed a few years ago, the hotel in that plan.
Okay,
They have the hub.
okay.
Okay, we need a motion whether to recommend or not recommend. Do we have a motion from the board?
I have a motion not to recommend, but how do I need to read that? Somebody can you second. Well, I motion not to recommend the required findings. Did I read that correctly? I motion not to recommend.
Yeah, and then we can do the consistency statement next.
Okay.
After that.
Have a motion not to recommend. Do we have a second? We have a second from Ms. Towns. All in favor of not recommending, raise your right hand. It's unanimous.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your presentation.
Well, I have on the slide the consistency findings. You'll need to propose one of those and vote on it. It's since you're stating that it's not consistent, you'll need a statement on the bottom there on my slide. The proposed UDO amendment is not consistent with the goals of the comprehensive plan and not in the best interest of the public because, and then you'll fill in the blank.
Okay. The proposed UDO amendment is not consistent with the goals of the comprehensive plan and not in the best interest of the public because the town has had an outpouring of resistance and complaints about this project. It was thoroughly discussed 3 years ago and unanimously voted against by the town council, and at this time, we can't recommend it.
Can I add to that? Also, that's not a good location. That's just not a proper location for a hotel.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and you'll probably need to vote, I think you need to vote on, just get a, you just proposed it. I think they need to then vote on that statement to make that
Okay.
official.
I
All right.
vote,
All in favor, raise your right hand. All against, that's unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm about to reread it.
Now for other items.
Okay, do we have another item to present tonight on the agenda? It is, we have somebody new to introduce. Ms. Brandy C. Dees, would you like to address the board and say hello?
Yes, thank you. I'm obviously the new planning director, coming from Pensacola, Florida. I was born and raised in North Carolina. Spent the first 10 years of my planning, municipal planning career for the city of Laurinburg. And so I'm just excited to be back in the state, close to family, and in Indian Trail.
Welcome to our
Welcome.
town.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next door, Marlboro County.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Any other business?
No, sir.
Okay, all righty. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Ms. Towns made a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
I second. I second.
Cheryl Mimi, second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Have everybody enjoy the traffic on the way home.
Jesus, Wes, wow.
All right, going.